Good morning. My name is Brian Mason. I'm the district attorney for Colorado's 17th Judicial District, which serves Adams and Broomfield counties. Welcome to the DA's office, and welcome to my colleagues, and thank you for coming here to discuss what is some really exciting news that we are announcing today, a $2 million grant to serve domestic violence victims here in Adams and Broomfield counties. One of the largest challenges that we face today, and when I took office in January of 2021, was a significant increase in domestic violence. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to dramatic increases of domestic violence across not just our jurisdiction, but across the state and across the country. And the question for us as prosecutors and policymakers is, what do we do about it? When I first took office, we created a unit here, a special victims unit, to specifically address domestic violence. And we talked about creating what we call a domestic violence high-risk team. This high-risk team would be set up to identify domestic violence victims early and get them the wraparound services that they need to keep them away from their abusers and to keep them off the autopsy table. The question was, how do we fund it? And so the commissioners and I, about a year ago, talked about, well, what are we going to do about this? And we decided to go big. And we decided to apply for a federal grant for $2 million to fund a high-risk team, this domestic violence high-risk team, as well as vouchers for domestic violence victims to have a place to stay. And we contacted our federal delegation. And thanks to the extraordinary leadership of Congressman Perlmutter, Congressman Crow, Congressman Neguse, they just ran with it. They took this proposal, they transferred it into legislative language, they miraculously got it into the appropriations bill, and they got the bill passed. And earlier this spring, President Biden signed the bill into law, and that $2 million is coming to Adams and Broomfield counties. So I'm so happy today to be able to announce this and to thank Congressman Perlmutter, Congressman Crow, Congressman Neguse, who's not here, and to thank all of our partners who are here today for the work ahead. Everybody is going to get up now and speak about what this money is going to do and our commitment to domestic violence, but I just want to emphasize our long-term goal is the creation of what we call a Family Justice Center. Family Justice Center will be a brick-and-mortar place where all victims of domestic violence can come and get one-stop shopping for all of their services that they need. This high-risk team is the building block for that, and it is an extraordinary step forward in serving domestic violence victims in this jurisdiction. So thank you, and I'm proud to introduce Congressman Jason Crow. So in just a few minutes, we're going to actually have a meeting of the domestic violence high-risk team. And as you all can see from the people who are here in this room, this was an enormous collaborative effort, and getting here today was an enormous collaborative effort, and we're really proud of it. But now that we have secured the funding, we got to do the work, and the people who do the work are the people sitting around this table. And what we have all concluded is that we have to serve domestic violence victims better. And this team, this high-risk team, will be identifying victims early to try to get them the services that they need. And we'll talk about exactly how we do that in just a few minutes. However, if there are any questions before we go back and sit down, we can take some questions now.
How will this be different from the traditional response to domestic violence in this jurisdiction?
So we've never had a high-risk team in the 17th Judicial District before. We've never had a collaborative effort where the DA's office, the police departments, nonprofit leaders come together and literally examine cases shortly after they've happened and say, what can we get to this victim now to make sure that she doesn't end up on an autopsy table? So this is brand new, and it is going to make a significant difference. Follow up? Okay. Did anybody else want to add to that?
How will the team be activated, or how will you know to meet or together?
Do you want to answer?
Go ahead.
Stephanie. You get to. Yeah.
So,
I don't want to give inaccurate answers.
and I would like to introduce to everyone Stephanie Fritts. She's my chief Deputy District Attorney and the head of our Special Victims Unit, and really the brain trust and the creator of this idea. Stephanie, why don't you come on up? So we've been piloting this DV high-risk team in the city of Thornton for how long now? About a year?
We started to get together in the same room for a year and just establish relationships between law enforcement and our community partners. And then I think we started meeting in February weekly after victims who are with offenders who are at high risk of reoffending once they were identified, and we started triaging those cases.
So to specifically answer your question, the team's going to meet every week and identify cases that have occurred over the previous several days so that we can get to those victims as fast as possible. One of the really exciting things about this grant is, like I said, we've been piloting the team in Thornton for the last several months, and we just started it in Brighton, I think, last month. Now we're going to be able to expand the service of this team throughout all of Adams and Broomfield counties.